So we're back with Chris here with Marchand Homes. Thank you so much, Chris. This is so exciting watching a build like step by step. So we are at the initial steps of the build right here now, which is the footings and the foundation stage. So when you put in the footings, I have a couple questions here so everybody understands it. How deep do you have to go with the footings that you make sure there's no movement in the foundation?
We have to at least go below the frost line, which is 4 feet.
Okay.
So footings are always at minimum 4 feet below the ground level.
Okay, and then once you pour the footings, that's when the wall starts. So on this particular build here, we can see it's kind of set back in against the ground there.
Yep.
What kind of drainage would you have around the foundation, Chris?
So around all of our foundations, we always put gravel as well as perforated drain tile.
Mm-hmm.
And then that drain tile usually leads off to a different part of the property.
And then it drains out.
And then it drains away.
When people viewing or myself think of tile, we think of tile.
Yeah.
But when you're talking drain tile, you're talking...
It's like a perforated pipe is what it is. I believe it's about 4 or 5 inches round. It's black pipe. It just goes around the whole foundation. And then it leads out to a part of the property. That way it's draining away.
Okay.
Yeah.
And from an inspection point of view with HRM, is this the first point of inspection or are the footings inspected first?
No, the footings are inspected first and they get their own inspection. So we call in the footings. At the same time, I call in location certificate.
Okay.
Just to make sure that the house is good to be where it is and we can proceed. And then after we get the footings inspected, then we move on to the foundation and below grade insulation if it's needed, stuff like that.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
So what type of insulation is there any insulation in these walls at all?
Yeah, there is. You can actually see there's white insulation around the garage wall here. We have to get below that frost line. So those are the areas where we have to insulate it. And it's always sheets of white styrofoam.
Looks to be about a 2 inch.
It's 2 inch.
Two or 3 inches.
Yeah.
Right. So from this stage, Chris, so how long does this have to sit before you can start the actual build?
It's less about when we actually build it, and it's when we're actually able to backfill the foundations. In the back there, you can see that there's like an 8-foot foundation wall.
Yes.
We want to allow that more time to cure or dry before we backfill, because if it's not dry and hard enough, that could start to sag and the backfill could actually push it in.
Oh,
So the taller the wall, the more time you want to allow it for it to cure. For those back walls, we usually like to leave at least a week before we backfill.
Okay.
But then by the time we backfill, we're ready to build on it.
Oh, okay. So it's right away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to jump back to you mentioned location certificate, just so that everybody watching knows. The location certificate marks exactly where it sits on the lot.
Exactly.
So those footings must sit within the parameters of the permits that you've got from HRM.
Exactly. And when you're on serviced lots like this one, it's much more important. Like they usually determine where it is.
Okay.
When we go on unserviced lots, which are on well and septic and stuff like that, you have a little bit more freedom to place the house where you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So from this stage here, Chris, how long would you say this will be complete to build?
There's a lot of variables. Depends the crews that you have on it. It depends on the finishes and everything like that. But I would say you're looking at about 4 to 5 months on this. 5 months would be comfortable.
That's not too bad.
No, and you're getting into the winter stage right now too, right?
Yeah.
So it slows things down a little bit.
So that was going to be my next question. So we're coming into Christmas now.
Yeah.
We've got January, February coming. So will you start to frame this right away?
Definitely.
Oh, you will?
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll start framing it right away. I know one of your questions is going to be the foundation floor. In the winter time, we don't like to pour the floor when it's exposed, because the temperature mixed with the concrete, it just doesn't create a good product. In the summertime, we would pour this floor before the framer started.
Okay.
If our schedule allowed it to, but in the wintertime, we don't like to do that. So we'll start framing here without the floor poured.
Okay.
And then once we have the shell of the house up, we'll heat it, and then we'll get it poured. That way the product's just, it's a better quality product.
Okay. Well, you beat me to the punch on that question. There.
I figured you were going there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this part here, I just want to let people know, like, so this is always the garage.
Yep.
And this is what's called serge. So that's completely filled with serge.
Yep.
You'll put the floor over that.
Exactly.
And then before you do that floor, that's when the plumbing and everything will go in.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is going to be so exciting. So we are going to follow this build along every step of the way. So, and I want people to know, this, like I said, this is Marchand Homes, and this is a custom built home. And that's one of the nice things about Marchand is you guys do your what we call spec buildings, but you also have your own custom design team I know this was a custom designed home. What's our next stage here that you go to? It's the framing called roof tight?
Yeah, roof tight. We'll get the framing done, and then once we get the trusses on, we'll put the shingles on, and then that's the point where we will start to heat it, get the basement floor poured, and then we can finish up the framing.
Okay.
After that is the rough-ins, so electrical, HVAC, plumbing,
Okay.
all that stuff.
All right, so we'll be back at that stage?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so as soon as this house is all framed up, we'll be back with Chris.
Yep.
And then if anyone has any questions or comments for Marchand Homes or about building, you can just put your questions in the comments below, and I'll make sure that Chris or someone at Marchand gets those questions.
For sure.
All right, well, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
It was a pleasure. I can't wait to see this finished. I've seen the design, so I know what a nice house it is.
Yes, yeah.
All right, thanks.
Right on.
And we'll be back as soon as we're roof tight. Cheers.